This is Hammer Striker here. Today we've got a couple of tactical threaded barrel 9mm pistols on the table. I'm going to try to keep the review fairly short. We're going to put this out on Thanksgiving Day, so you guys are probably watching this before getting ready to eat, or you got a belly full of turkey and you're going to fall asleep. So we're not going to do a full review on both of these because we've already done a full review on the base guns that they're based on. You know, the P320 TACOPS is just a P320 with a few additional features, and the PPQ Navy is basically a PPQ based on the 4-inch gun with the threaded barrel and a couple different magazines. So we'll put a link to the full review, but we're going to focus on the tactical features of these. Both of these are set up with threaded barrels and a couple features that would make them more interesting for somebody that wants to run a suppressor or some sort of a muzzle device. Even though in all reality the muzzle device for a pistol that you're most likely to do is a suppressor. So I'm going to focus on those features of it, and if you want to look at full details of these guns, you can either look at the individual reviews on the guns themselves, or you can look at that comparison that we'll put in. So let's start out by making sure that each one of these things is clear, and then we'll go through the details. So that one's clear. Set the magazine aside for a moment. Oops, I forgot to pull the magazine on that one. And that one is clear. So what we've got here is, these are both come from the manufacturer with the threaded barrels and the features you're going to see. These aren't add-ons. I didn't buy the barrels independently. I bought them just like you see them. So let's start with some of the basics like the sizing. You can see just from looking at them, they're very close on size. The PPQ is 7.8 inches long, and the P320 is 7.9 inches long. They're both 1.3 inches thick, so neither one of them is overly thick. PPQ looks a little thinner because of the beveled slide, but when you go out to the widest point, they're roughly equal. And the PPQ is 5.3 inches tall, base up, and the P320, this is based on the carry, the P320 carry, is 5.5 inches. So overall, from a size perspective, they're fairly close to each other. The PPQ is a little bit lighter with the extended magazine. This comes in at 25.5 ounces, and the P320 is definitely a heavier gun with its 21 round extended magazine. It comes in at 28.5 ounces, and you can feel it. When you pick this gun up, you can feel it's heavier. There's a lot more metal in the slide. It's a lot taller slide. Of course, if you're looking to use this for concealed carry, you probably are not looking at a 21 round magazine and maybe not even a threaded barrel. You'd probably be looking at the carry without the extra features. So you're going to use this when you're running your suppressor, and the weight's probably going to be a little less significant in that case. Both of them do have rails, and both of these are striker fired guns with all the internal safeties you would expect to see on such guns. So from a safety perspective and an operational perspective, they work very similarly. From an Msrp perspective, there is a big difference. The PPQ with two magazines, a 15 round and a 17 round, and they are steel magazines. This one is 15 rounds, and with this base plate you get 2 extra rounds, and it comes in the box with this magazine. And it also comes with a 15 round flush mount magazine that's just the 15 rounds. This one is priced at $6.99 Msrp. And I'm going to quote Msrp. You can get them at local gun shops and online, higher or lower depending on the mood and the availability. The Sig, Sig is very proud of their guns, always have been. This is Msrp of $8.30, and you can frequently find this less than that. But it comes with a few features that account for the price difference that actually may more than make up for the price difference. It comes with 4 of these 21 round magazines, and these 21 round magazines are actually 21 round magazines. This extension just wraps around the magazine. It's not a magazine base plate extender. These are actually made to be 21 round magazines, and they've got the witness holes. And the gun comes with 4 of these. PPQ comes with 2, the 15 and the 17. The sights on the Sig, and I'll get them up side by side. The Sigs are Sig Light night sights in suppressor height. If I lift the guns up a little bit so that you can see, they're suppressor height sights in a very bright 3-dot. And the Sig Light sights are night sights you can actually see during the day. The white ring around them makes them very bright, easy to see during the day. And they're also, of course, illuminated at night. The PPQ are very nice 3-dot sights, but they're not night sights, and surprisingly they're not suppressor height. Now if you've got a low profile suppressor like the Osprey, that may not matter, but if you've got a round suppressor or anything that's a little bit larger, the night sights on the Sig are going to make a big difference in that case of actually being able to use your can and still see the sights. Now one feature about the PPQ is they are drift adjustable with a screw adjustment. So you don't actually have to pound the sights back and forth to move them. That's kind of a cool feature on the PPQ. They are not height adjustable. So one of the other things that is pretty significant too on these is the barrel threading. And before I talk about that, let me just go back before I forget. The Sig Light sights are also steel, and the PPQ sights are polymer. Now they're very good, they're very durable. I've never heard of PPQ sights falling apart or breaking because they're polymer. But when you get into the taller sights, the taller they are, the more likely you might be to break a polymer sight off just catching it on something. And these are steel, so you don't have to worry about breaking them. Now, one of the areas that these are different, and this could be an issue for you depending on the suppressor you've got, the PPQ comes with what's kind of become the industry standard for 9mm and 40 caliber suppressors of 1/2 by 28 right-hand threads. And pretty much every suppressor is going to have an available piston kit with that threading in it. And in many cases, when you buy a suppressor, it comes with one piston, and that's the one. The Sig, for whatever reason, has chosen to go with the 13.5 by 1 metric left-hand thread. Now, many suppressors have piston kits like the Osprey and many of those others that you can buy replacement pistons to adapt to that. And that's not necessarily a problem, but the pistons can run anywhere from $30 to $70 depending on the suppressor, and may or may not have availability. And if you have a suppressor that has the integral piston system that doesn't allow you to change it out, then you get into adapters. And as soon as you get into adapters, you start running the risk of getting off center, and you could end up with a baffle strike. So if you're thinking about the Sig, which is actually quite a good gun, make sure that whatever suppressor you've got or that you're thinking about getting, that you can get a piston that will mount on that 13.5 by 1 left-handed thread. From a trigger perspective, both triggers on paper are very similar. This comes in, the PPQ comes in with a 5.5 pound trigger, or 5.6 according to Walther, and this one comes in with a 6.5 pound trigger according to Sig. Now in practice, the PPQ trigger is a killer. There is no striker trigger that I've felt of all the guns I've fired that comes anywhere near the PPQ. The P320's trigger is good, but there's no doubt about that. But it just can't even come close to the PPQ, and most other guns can't. So from what I found when I was shooting them, I tended to be a little more consistent with the PPQ. I could get my group where I wanted it a little more consistently with the PPQ, and that may have had something to do with the standard height sights and the trigger. With the P320, as you'll see in the videos, I pulled good groups. There's no doubt about the ability to shoot this gun well, but not quite as consistently and not quite as good as the PPQ. So now we come down to the part that says if I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to buy one of these, hang my can on it, and I can only have one, or I'm going to shop the Black Friday sales and I'm going to drive to the store that's got the one I want, which one would you pick? In this case, it's kind of a close race. The trigger on the PPQ really makes it a difficult comparison, but I would end up picking the Sig. And the reasons for that are the 20 round coming with 4 21 round magazines. This is a tactical gun after all, so you might as well have the fun sticks. And those suppressor ready sights. If you're going to put a can on it and you're going to want to be able to shoot it, you're going to want to be able to see it. So I'm not wanting to have to replace the sights afterwards. So either one of them is going to serve you quite well. Both of these guns have been quite reliable. Both of them are very enjoyable to shoot at the range. But if I had to pick just one, I'd go home with the Sig P320. And you can look for our full reviews on these. We'll put the descriptions in the links to them in the description if you want to get to the full review on either one of these guns, or you want to see the comparisons on the host guns. But beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, check us out on Facebook, subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you.